Welcome back to Christ Table. So glad that you are with us again today. My name is Kevin Young. I have the privilege of serving as lead clergy here at Christ Table. If you'd like to know more about us, you can visit the URL that is right up there in the corner, www.christstable.today. Sign up for the email list there so that you'll know everything that's going on around Christ Table. But I also want to give you another URL, the one that's right there in front of me, go.christstable.today/fearnot. That's going to give you more info about this study in particular. We do these studies, many of them during the year. And there you're going to find a list of all of the days of this Advent study, as well as a list of the passages that go along with it. But there's also a second download there, a PDF that is a daily study guide with questions for you to help you navigate the passage and the study to take it a step further. And then there are also some devotionals that are in there to help you just really embrace this idea of not fearing during this season and during all seasons of life. Now, today we find ourselves in Isaiah chapter 11, verses 1 through 10. And I forgot to say that there at that site, go.christstable.today/fearnot. We have printed copies of that free PDF study guide. If you'd like a hard copy of it, then you can get one of those there as well. But the PDF is free, and we want to give away as many resources as possible because we're really in this to help people make momentum forward on their spiritual journey, not to make a buck. So there you go. Today we're in Isaiah chapter 11, verses 1 through 10, which if you've been in church or been around Christians at any time during the season of Christmas, then you probably have heard this passage or one of the texts surrounding it, because this is kind of a classic prophecy that is tied to the Christmas season because it is it's tied to Jesus. Now, it wasn't originally tied to Jesus, and that's something that I feel like it's important for us to say, is that this passage and all the ones in the Hebrew text that are prophecies that Christians see as being prescriptive or descriptive of Jesus the Messiah. There are many people, Jews in particular, who'd say that Jesus does not fit those prophecies, that they do not proclaim him. I don't really want to get into the weeds of that. Obviously, I have a belief there. I'm a Christian, so I do see that Jesus does seem to fit most or all of those prophecies pretty well. But whenever we come to this text, I think that it might be good for us to just kind of take a step back, and rather than immediately see it through the lens of Jesus, for us to just simply take it at face value as a conversation of hope about one who would come, or just a conversation about hope that would come. And here, that hope is completely and utterly kind of realized in this concept of a Messiah, one who would come, an anointed one, a promised one. And so that's where we're going to go in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1 today. And let's just kind of jump right into the deep end here. Out of the stump of David's family will grow a shoot. Yes, a new branch bearing fruit from the old root, and the Spirit of the Lord will rest on him. And now we're like immediately in the deep end, not just of prophecy, but also in horticulture, which I think is the right word to utilize there for branches and growing and grafting and these things. So what we have here is a stump from David's family. And David is the great King David of Israel, who is generally and widely regarded to be the greatest king of Israel and the leader of the greatest season, the greatest kingdom of Israel's history. And so really generations, centuries, millennia of Jewish individuals have longed for a return to the prominence, the importance, the power, the autonomy, the relationship with God that was present whenever David's kingdom was in force and whenever David's family was on the throne. But it is a moment where all hope seems lost, where the great kingdom, if it were a incredibly large tree, is now nothing more than just a stump, that it has been cut down, and that there seems to be no hope for a return of the kingdom, much less a return of the throne, much less a return of someone from David's line being on the throne. But the prophet says, God is not done. God is not done with Israel. God is not done with you. God is not done with the Davidic kingdom. God is not done here that, yes, even though it seems as though all hope is lost, that stump is going to grow a shoot, a new branch that bears new fruit from the old root, and the Spirit of the Lord is going to rest on this person in whom all of that is contained within. Now, just before Isaiah chapter 11, we have come out of this passage that talks about the destruction that will come to the Davidic kingdom, to the kingdom of Israel, and how bad things are, and things were really bad. And so we kind of have this contrast, compare situation where these great cedar trees of Assyria are compared to the stump, the burnt, nasty, unable to produce life or hope stump of Israel in the Davidic kingdom. And I mean, it's hard to completely communicate to you the contrast between these two and how great it is. Imagine a stump that is beyond producing life in any way, shape, or form, compared to the tallest, most beautiful, most magnificent tree that you can think of. Now, here's a picture of a modern tree in what would have been ancient Assyria in Lebanon. Here is a grove of these trees, modern, but even this doesn't compare to what it was in those days. In fact, those trees have been for centuries, for millennium, told to be the greatest forest and the greatest trees that have ever existed on the face of the earth. In fact, Ezekiel in the Bible, yes, that Ezekiel, essentially says in his book of Ezekiel that these trees that are referenced in Isaiah chapter 10, just before our text, the compare contrast, that these trees that are being compared to or contrasted with the stump, these trees were more magnificent, were greater than the trees of Eden. And so imagine perfection in the Garden of Eden, and these trees in Assyria and Lebanon, these are even better than anything that had in the Garden of Eden. And it's being compared to this stump that God's going to bring redemption from. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him. Spirit of wisdom, of understanding, spirit of counsel and of might, spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord, that this return, this redemption, will contain all different kinds of positive, great, and needful things. You know, sometimes whenever you find a leader, president of an organization, president of a country, a king, they may have one gift, one strong gift. The great ones have two, maybe several strong gifts. This leader will have everything that you could ever want, more than anyone has ever had. It will be a return of not just David to the throne, but someone who is even better than David, even better than the greatest will be this one. And he will delight in obeying the Lord. He will not judge by appearance or how things look. And that was important in those days because the leaders were judging by appearance and how things look, or make a decision based on hearsay. And this is something that we continue to see over and over again in Scripture, especially when the prophecies are given to the way the kingdom should be and the way that God's world should operate, is justice, that the poor specifically will receive justice, and fair decisions will come to the exploited. This is how you tell something that is of God and something that is not of God, are these things. The earth will shake at the force of his word, and one breath from his mouth will destroy the wicked. Prophecy. He will wear righteousness like a belt and truth like an undergarment. In that day, the wolf and the lamb will live, or your text may say will lie down together. The leopard will lie down with the baby goat. That means there will be peace among communities and things in which there has never been peace, and there should not be peace between. The calf and the yearling will be safe with the lion, and the little child will lead them all. The cow will graze near the byre. The cub and the calf will lie down together. The lion will eat hay like a cow. Prophecy, imagery, poetry. It's weird, but just hang on with me. The baby will play safely near the hole of a cobra. Yes, a little child will put its hand in a nest of deadly snakes without harm, and nothing will hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain. And so, um, this is the part where it becomes sometimes odd or difficult to see Jesus as the fulfillment of these things, at least Jesus in the first century. Perhaps this is a prophecy that is partially fulfilled, or perhaps this is Jesus as a Messiah in a different season, not in the first century, but at a second coming. There are lots of different ways to see this and to think about this passage with or without Jesus. I see it with Jesus, but the thing is that there's more than one way to understand this. Prophecy is difficult. For as the waters of the sea, so the earth will be filled with people who know the Lord. And in that day, here we go back to the beginning promise. In that day, the heir to David's throne will be a banner of salvation, to all the world. The nations will rally to him, and the land where he lives will be a glorious place. And so there is hope. When all hope seems lost, when all hope is lost, but God. So fear not. And in the moments where there is greatest fear, it always seems as though it is those moments whenever God shows up and says, hey, wait a minute. I've got this. Fear not. Hey, wait a minute. I know that everything seems bleak. I know that everything seems hopeless. Fear not. I've got this. I don't know where you are. I don't know what you're struggling with. I don't know what you fear, what you have feared, or what fears you have given into. But perhaps this season of Advent, this is the reminder to you that God continues to prove himself to be one who brings hope out of fear, and who turns those seasons where there is no other way out but pain and suffering into seasons of peace and joy and justice. It's not pie in the sky, but it's hope based in a reality of how God has continued to work and interact over and again. And it seems as though, and we see this in this passage, that God is in the business of demonstrating his glory by raising up people of humble means. I want to say this because so many times we fear humility, we fear poverty, we fear not having the power or the authority or the status to be able to protect ourselves or to be able to accomplish the things that we feel are necessary for us to have no fear, right? So we try to amass power, money, resources, people, control, all of these things in order to help overcome our fears. And then we say, well, it was the blessings of God that gave that to us. But maybe poverty is the blessing of God. Maybe humility is the blessing of God. Maybe being in a place where you rely or must rely on justice in order to survive. Maybe you're specifically in the place where God needs you or where God wants you. Because what we see in this passage and over again in Scripture is that God is in the business of demonstrating his glory by raising up people of humble means. And there is no other season than Christmas for us to reflect on what it means to be humble and to live in a state of humility. Well, until next time, it's been good to be with you.